groups forced a temporary closure over a dispute for control of the market. We're live in the market with our correspondents. Also in this bulletin, President mahaMA nominates 5 distinguished personalities to newly established Ghana Fiscal Council, a statutory body set up to assess fiscal policy and monitor compliance with public debt and spending rules. Later in the bulletin, U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week conditional ceasefire and the temporary reopening of the Strait of Hormuz after a last-minute diplomatic intervention led by Pakistan. We have details of this and more in the next 30 minutes. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. Let's begin the bulletin right here and right now. The United States and Iran have agreed to a 2-week ceasefire, reaching a deal less than 2 hours before President Donald Trump's deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face the wiping out of a whole civilization. The announcement by Trump late on Tuesday represented an abrupt turnaround from his extraordinary warning earlier and came after mediation efforts by Pakistan's military chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, and its Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif. Sharif later said in a post on X he had invited Iranian and U.S. delegations to meet in Islamabad on Friday. Trump said the 11th-hour deal was subject to Iran's agreement to pause its blockade of oil and gas supplies through the strait. The waterway typically handles about 1/5 of global oil shipment. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said in a statement, Tehran will cease counterattacks and provide safe passage through the waterway if attacks against it stopped. Well, let's go on the phone and speak to Dr. Yao Gebe, an international relations expert. Doc, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon. The only problem is that I can barely hear you.
Right, Doc, I'll speak up for you.
Kindly speak up.
Thank you, sir. So did you foresee the ceasefire coming in so early despite threats by Donald Trump to wipe out Iran?
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity and also to say welcome to your listeners. The current happenings in the international system is not new, and historically we have had such incidents in the past, some leading to global conflicts and wars as we had during the First World War, Second World War. So I'm not surprised at all. Two, the utterances and activities of Donald Trump in particular, and by inclusion Israel, it's something that we should not take for granted. They have some peculiar national interest that they are pursuing, and I believe you even talk about it. This idea that Iran is ever ready to use nuclear warheads to attack the United States and Israel, and therefore they have to preempt. And that has brought us to where we are today. I never believed that the United States, led by Donald Trump, are ever in the position to destroy Iranian civilization. These are pronouncements, but they cannot follow it to the book. So the current developments, particularly the ceasefire, I almost said so-called ceasefire. Well, I hope that it can last because Iran is also very much adamant to do otherwise, just as the United States and Israel are also prepared to go as much as they could.
Right.
So that's where we are currently.
Doc, and the role Pakistan played, it played a key mediation role. What does this tell us about shifting diplomatic influence and alliances in global geopolitics?
Well, let me put it this way. Pakistan, for a very long time, has been an ally of the United States. Its intervention cannot be looked at as if it is a shift in global alliance. But basically, it's also an Islamic state, okay? And if a fellow Islamic state is under attack or threatened by a global hegemon like the United States, and the leadership of Pakistan saying that they have the capacity or the ability to intervene, that is exactly what they are doing. But it doesn't therefore mean that there's a shift in global alliance or relations.
And Doc, the Strait of Hormuz, it carries about a fifth of global oil shipment. What are the immediate and maybe long-term implications of this ceasefire, especially for global energy markets and economies like Ghana?
A lot has been said about the Strait of Hormuz, and it has its significance. And I just heard you talking about it. About 20% of the global, transfer or transport of oil and gas, even fertilizers, pass through that strait. So definitely it will affect all of us. And for the developing world in general and Africa in particular, it will really hurt us. So whatever we are doing to enable that particular strait to be reopened and will actually give us the opportunity to allow oil, gas, fertilizer, and other goods to flow through the channel or the strait will be very much welcome. And I hope that there seems to be some level of understanding between the actors, a global actor, a hegemon like the United States, and an ever-emerging power like Iran. What they are doing means that the rest of us will suffer. So I hope that they will get, a reasonable solution to the whole quagmire.
Right, Doc, you just said that whatever they are doing, the rest of us will suffer. In all of these, what should be the lessons Ghana should take from all of these?
Well, there are two issues here. First of all, a small, middle or upcoming economy like Ghana, we need to be prepared. I heard the chief executive of NPA yesterday talking about having some oil reserves to last us or take us for another 8 weeks. That is a good preparatory ground to withstand any kind of, unbearable or unforeseen developments or consequences in the international system. That's one. So we should always be prepared, okay? Because we are so vulnerable as developing world economies, we are so vulnerable. Whatever happens in the international system, in the larger international system, affects us so drastically. So whatever we can do to ameliorate or probably bring down the hurt or the outcome is always welcome. The second issue has to do with the bigger international community led by the United Nations. In all this, I have not heard or seen the UN acting in any way. It seems to be so docile, inactive, and basically doing nothing. And I believe that as the spokesperson of the international community and, of course, the heartbeat of the international community, I expect the Secretary General of the UN to be more up and doing. Talk to the protagonists. Talk to the leadership of the United States. Talk to Iran. Talk to Israel. After all, they are also members of the United Nations. Maybe there will be a leeway, but nothing of the sort is happening. So I hope that the rest of the international community led by the United Nations will surprise us with something, not a package, but a way of mitigating whatever is happening and where we are so far.
Okay. Doc, thank you so much for making time to talk to us. You have been engaging Dr. Yao Gebe. He's an international relations expert. And Doc, thank you once again for your time on the bulletin. Let's move on. And talking about calm or ceasefire, calm has been restored to the Adjen Kotoku onion market following violent clashes and a temporary closure caused by disputes over the alleged seizure of trucks belonging to rival foreign traders. The incident, which disrupted trading activities at one of the country's key onion pubs, is also said to be linked to growing allegations of political interference in the management of the market. Joseph Armstrong reports from the market that trucks from Nigeria are currently offloading their goods after they were initially prevented from doing so. Let's connect with Armstrong, who is in the market. Armstrong, what can you report? Have you been able to buy some onions yet?
Yeah, Grace, currently myself, I'm selling some now where I'm seated. There's so much peace here, so much coordination between all onion sellers, those from Nigeria and those from Accra, Ghana here. And I can also see some police personnel who are well positioned, trying to provide security in case of any escalation. But just right now, there's so much peace in the environment here at Adjen Kotoku market, I beg your pardon, where you see even goods coming from Nigeria are being offloaded from their trucks. So far, about 12 trucks are gathered here right now. And I'm speaking to the Secretary of the area, the onion market, he told me that about 70 trucks are on their way from Nigeria coming down to this place. Now, that's the sound right now. There's so much peace here with everybody moving about their daily business without any tension at all in this area. Great.
What do the traders tell you when you speak to them? We know the last time they were supposed to have a meeting with the trade minister. Has it happened? What do they tell you about the general mood in the market?
So currently, there's so much, let me say, the coordination here is okay. The only challenge we have here now is some of the onion sellers losing some of their produce because of keeping of the trucks here over the days. From Monday till now, you see many of the onions have rotting, and that's their only challenge. The other issue they raised was about the trade ministry having a meeting with them. The trade minister has assured that the tension between Nigeria and Ghana is going to be resolved, and they've also tasked the police personnel to ensure that they're on standby to prevent any escalation. So as it stands right now, aside some of the onions rotting away, everything is in order, Grace.
And the security presence in the market?
Enough security presence. I spoke with the district police commander, who is currently on location now. I spoke with him. He actually offered to even let me carry a lot of onion back home if I like, or no. And that should tell you that, in fact, there's enough peace here and there's nothing to fear as it stands right now, Grace.
But I'm sure you will share the onions with us when you come back to the office.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that report. We've been engaging my colleague Joseph Armstrong from the Adjen Kotoku market. He tells us calm has been restored to the market after that impasse between Ghanaians and Nigerian traders. Let us go to the Ashanti region now, and the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has begun a major demolition exercise around the vicinity of the Kumasi Sports Stadium as part of the Assembly City Beautification Drive. Several structures have been pulled down. William Evans Inkum has the rest of the story, and then we can engage him. We'll bring you that report subsequently, but right.
Some of these structures have become obstruction. For instance, this food and drinking spot directly opposite the T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School has been erected just at the edge of a major intersection. The KMA says they are illegal. Some of the shop owners who were around during the operation promised to remove their shops as soon as possible. Such shops were spared by the KMA task force.
Kumasi is the second largest city in the country. And as it happens in all major cities, major roads, ceremonial roads are kept tidy. And that is exactly what we want to do. So there are three areas that we are focusing on in this April. Make sure that structures that do not help us to have the beautification of Kumasi as we expected will be carried away. Now the first area is in between the Swami roundabout or the Swami interchange, so to call once it's under construction, and then Abepo Junction.
In another development, the mayor has also given car dealers at the frontage of the State Boys School an extension of time to remove their cars. This follows TV3's earlier report.
Right, William Evans reports there. Evans, do I get a sense that these shop owners who have been affected were not given prior notice, or they were given but turned deaf ear to this?
Well, so they've been given ample time previously. They've had a series of meetings with the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, per my understanding, of course, from what I also gathered whilst we were with the mayor on the scene. It just maybe, for want of a better word, be recalcitrant. And that is one of the reasons why there was some level of action in terms of removing these structures from the unauthorized areas. Grace.
And these exercise by the KMA, what is the end game?
Well, so KMA, according to KMA, they are looking at beautifying the city. So, for instance, even if they are going to allow structures to be erected in these or in some of these areas, there's going to be some level of uniformity. And they are coming out with a design. That is what the mayor is saying. They want for instance, let me quote him, we want places to start looking like sphincters. And that is the kind of model they are adopting as far as the beautification of the city is concerned.
Evan, so this exercise by the KMA, are they giving out some form of compensation to those who've been affected?
It doesn't look like hate, because already they've established that where they were occupying, areas that they were occupying was illegal, and they had no business in operating from those areas. So there isn't going to be any kind of compensation. But for instance, for the car dealers, my understanding is that they are still talking with the KMA so that they will identify a place for them to relocate, because a proper Kumasi, most of the places are choked at the moment.
Right, Evans, thank you for bringing us the details to that action by the KMA. William Evans Inkum, my colleague in the Ashanti region, talking to us about that KMA demolishing exercise. When we come to the Greater Accra region, a 29-year-old woman has been pulled out from the drainage near the traffic lights between the Jubilee House and the Afrikiko Leisure Center by personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service. If you go to our Facebook page now, you see videos and pictures of that exercise. According to the security officers, they had a call from the Jubilee House Information Control Department around 7:30 a.m. this morning. Upon interrogation, the woman rescued explained that 3 men were chasing her last night, and in attempt to flee, she entered the drainage, and as that was her only option to seek refuge. So you can go to our Facebook page now, and you see the videos of the woman being rescued by the Ghana National Fire Service. We can listen to her narrate her ordeal.
At what time were they? Around 12, sir. What did you do?
I don't do anything.
And they started chasing you?
Yes. Bad boys. I don't do anything. If the person tell me what I did, I will provide for all my life. I will provide. If I do not provide, I will provide. Make the person not forgive me. Tell me what I did for you. Tell me what I did.
Let's go.
Tell me what I did. Every night.
So you had that 29-year-old woman there narrating her ordeal as to how she ended up finding herself in the drainage near the traffic light between the Jubilee House and the Afrikiko Leisure Center. And President mahaMA has nominated 5 individuals to serve on an independent fiscal council as part of reforms contained the new Public Financial Management Act 2025, Act 1136, with a primary mandate to strengthen financial oversight, fiscal prudence, and shape sound decision-making in management of the country's public finances. The 5-member Fiscal Council will independently assess the fiscal policy of the country and make recommendations to government in respect of fiscal policy and provide Parliament's budget committees with assessment of government adherence to the primary balance and public debt rules. Formation of this independent Fiscal Council is in line with the country's April 2026 exit from the International Monetary Fund program. Let's now look at the composition of the council. The chairperson, Dr. Emmanuel Otinkuma. We have a rep from academia, Professor Patrick Opoku Assuming, a rep from research think tank, Leslie Dwight Mensah. We have Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa, ex-public policy expert from BOG. Their roles include, as I've mentioned, independent assessment of fiscal policy and compliance with primary balance or debt rules, and also provide government with fiscal policy recommendations, as well as they have the power to request public entities to provide relevant information to enable performance of its functions, as well as any other analytical report on fiscal performance. And so that is the latest coming from the Jubilee House. But if we have to still stay in the Jubilee House, then President mahaMA today began his one-day official visit to Paris with a meeting with the president of French state, Gerard Larcher. He was welcomed with a military ceremony before the bilateral meeting, which discussed, among others, trade and investment, regional security, and the fight against terrorism, France's support for maternal health and agric in Ghana, and the remarkable improvement to Ghana's economy under President mahaMA. Mr. mahaMA and his delegation, which includes the Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, National Security Advisor Prosper Bani, Secretary to the President Dr. Callistus mahaMA, Presidential Advisor and Special Aide Joyce Muktawa-Bawa, and Ghana's Ambassador to France Mavis Frimpong, will later today hold talks with the French President Emmanuel Macron at the LC Palace. You're still listening to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, and persistent telecommunication network fluctuations continue to impact business and social life in parts of the Afajato South District of the Volta region. In the Leklebi enclave, residents say the impact is far-reaching and appealing to government to act. More in the following reports by Faisal Abdul Idrisu.
About 12 communities across the Afajato South District are currently without or are struggling with fluctuating telecommunication network, a problem that has persisted for decades. In the Leklebi enclave, the situation is worse as residents in Agbesia, Duga, Fiape, Dafo, among others, move from one point to the other in search of strong signal for calls or internet connectivity.
Telecommunication network or data have been terrible in this community like Agbesia for so long. Sometimes ago, we have a tree even here that we call, Ariba tree. But you have to climb that tree before you can access a good network. Sometimes to even that, you have to raise your phone up. Wherever you get it, you have to stay there. You shouldn't shake your hand till you get the network to talk. Even today, I try to do a lot of calls.
The fluctuating network challenge is also having a toll on local trade, resulting in high cost of doing business in the area. It is negatively impacting our businesses. Sometimes when our business partners call to give us stock, they don't get us. So they are forced to give out the stock to other customers. As a result, we are always traveling by road to get stock instead of just placing a call. We are pleading with government to intervene and resolve the network challenge immediately. At the Leklebi Kame border post, security officers say the poor network is negatively impacting their operations.
Once you leave your homes and get to the border here, you have nothing to do with network because it's not working. So getting in terms of calls, data, and nothing. And our work, we would have to get record of the passengers, the vehicle coming in, or record passport and all that. We have to send them through the system, and it gets to our regional and then finally to our headquarters. And it's become difficult. So in an emergency situation where you have to get information to the office and it has to be sent, we have to rely on motor or our vehicle. And those processes delays. And so I think we getting a good network here will help us.
While the impact is overreaching, District Chief Executive for the area, Manfred Tewia, says steps are already being taken to address the problem.
Since the dawn of mobile telephony, some areas in Afajato have never experienced good network. So when I took over, I went to GIFEC to lobby, and the result is what we are seeing today. We are hopeful that when completed, our communication will improve, our teaching and learning will improve, and also security and emergency service also up.
The project, which is being undertaken by GIFEC, has already begun in Agbesia and will be extended into the other communities. Faisal Abdul Idrisu, Afajato South.
And here in the studio, my name is Grace Hamo Ajuman. Before we take leave of you, a formal handing over ceremony has been held at the National Police Training School, Accra, on 7th April 2026 to mark a change in leadership of the IGP Special Operations Team. The outgoing leader of the team, DSP Bawa Abdul Jalil, officially handed over command responsibilities to the new commander, Superintendent Augustine Dawson Amwa, who will be supported by 3 other senior officers. In its remarks, DSP Bawa Abdul Jalil urged personnel to give their full cooperation and support to the new leadership to ensure continuity and operational effectiveness. Superintendent Augustine Dawson Amoah in his address assured the team of his commitment to effective leadership and called for unity, discipline and professionalism in the execution of their duties. We know DSP Jalil and the team are also being investigated for some alleged assault that was brought against them during the Easter festivities, and so we'll also follow up and bring you the latest on that. But while we go, for many Ghanaians, especially young people, HIV self-testing has become a preferred option because it offers privacy, convenience, and quick results. But health authorities are raising concerns about counterfeit HIV test kits reported on the Nigerian market, warning they could undermine Ghana's HIV control efforts if they find their way into the country. Let's listen to Professor Kwabena Frimpong Mansopuni, CEO of the FDA.
We expect people to take notes of those batch numbers. You know, we gave clearly the names, photographs and everything, so that if they are going for such tests, it is their right to find out from the lab the type of diagnostic they are using. It doesn't matter the barriers we built, the efforts we put in. Consumers should be well educated. So if you have a well-educated consumer, even if the product slips through, that consumer will become the final barrier to alert us. We've communicated with healthcare professionals, institutions, and all places that they find, they return them to us.
You heard Professor Kwabena Frimpong Mansopuni, CEO of the Food and Drugs Authority, and now the Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre and also MP for Samoma Dredri has revealed that the minority in Parliament is petitioning Asante Nene Otumfuo over the cocoa price cut. He says the minority is doing this because farmers are struggling after the cocoa bag price dropped from 3,600 to 2,500. The on his part MP for Finso South and a ranking member for Food, Agric and Cocoa argued the reduction was unjustified and since foreign buyers had already agreed to the old price. We'll bring you a lot more on this as well as the minorities' engagement with Otumfuo and all of that. But that will be it for our package for you this afternoon on 3FM 92.7. My name is Grace Hamwa Ajiman. Thank you for staying with us on this bulletin. Stories that came through as headlines this afternoon. Trading activity resumes at Adjen Kotoku Onion Market after recent violent clashes between rival groups forced a temporary closure over a dispute for control of the market. Also, President mahaMA nominates 5 distinguished personalities to newly established Ghana Fiscal Council, a statutory body set up to assess fiscal policy and monitor compliance with public debt and spending rules. And US-Iran agreed to a 2-week conditional ceasefire and the temporary reopening of the Strait of Hormuz after a last-minute diplomatic intervention led by Pakistan. Many thanks for joining us. Business will come your way shortly. An accountability committee report reveals Ghana's oil and gas production dips for 6th straight year.
What is even more significant is the fact that from 2019, we have consistently been dropping. The oil production has been reducing consistently till we came to that sharp drop in 2025.
Also, Electricity Company of Ghana begins a rollout of major 240 million transformer upgrade in Accra, plus city records mixed performance amid rising forest demand pressures. Details shortly. Many thanks for joining us. Let's begin the bulletin from here. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, has raised a red flag over the continuous decline in Ghana's petroleum sector, revealing that the country has now experienced 6 consecutive years of diminishing oil and gas production. According to the 2025 PIAC report, the steady downward trend in output has reached a critical point, severely undermining the country's ability to generate essential revenue from the upstream sector. The report highlights that the total petroleum received for 2025 plummeted to approximately $769 million, a staggering 43% drop from the $1.35 billion recorded in 2024. Richard Elima is chair of PIAC.
2019, we had our highest production of oil. 2019, we had our highest of 71.4 million barrels. Now, compare that to 2025, where we had 37 million barrels. What is even more significant is the fact that from 2019, we have consistently been dropping. We have consistently been, the oil production has been reducing consistently. So we came to that sharp drop in 2025. And it is something that PIAC has raised a number of years. Now, when we come to gas, the Jubilee field in 2025 gave us 74,316 SCF of gas. The SCF is the unit of measurement. Then the 10th field gave us 55,278 SCF. And then the SGN AG gave us 53,000. The SGN LAG gave us 90,815. This is because that is predominantly gas field. So they give us more gas than oil.
That was the chairman of PIAC, Richard Elima. Two other stories. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is set to roll out a major 240 million cedis transformer upgrade project across parts of Accra, with planned power outages expected as the work begins this week. The ECG will commence a large-scale transformer replacement and upgrade exercise in several communities within Accra as part of efforts to improve power supply reliability. Let's listen to the ECG.
The project, backed by an investment of 240 million cedis, will involve upgrading 12 transformers across 6 key substations, including Adenta, La, Teshi, Nungwa, Maijo, Bachuna, and Lashibi. According to ECG, the transformers will be upgraded from 2026 MVA to 3039 MVA, a move expected to significantly boost capacity and reduce frequent system overloads in rapidly growing areas. However, the company has indicated that the upgrade works will require planned power outages in affected communities. These include parts of East Legon Hills, Nanakrum, Borteman, Lakeside, Kantamanso, Teshi, Nungwa, Lashibi, Bachuna, and nearby areas. ECG says the outages will be carried out in phases over a 3-day period, with each customer expected to experience up to 6 hours without power. The first phase of the project is scheduled to begin on Wednesday, April 8 and run through to Friday, April 10, 2026.
That was a 3 business reports there. The city has posted a broadly stable but mixed performance over the past 2 weeks as increased demand for foreign exchange, particularly from oil importers, continue to weigh on its recent gains. The city extended its mild correction over the review period, shedding some value against major international currencies in the interbank markets. As well in this report.
According to Data Bank research, the recent pressure on the cedi is largely driven by increased demand for foreign currency, especially from bulk oil distribution companies as global crude oil prices remain elevated. The cedi depreciated slightly against the US dollar and the euro, trading at 11 cedis to the dollar and 12.70 to the euro. However, it recorded a marginal gain against the British pound, strengthening to 14.56 cedis. In the retail market, the cedi also weakened against the dollar but showed stronger gains against the pound and the euro, reflecting tighter spreads and ongoing central bank support. Analysts describe the currency's performance as mixed but relatively stable. Looking ahead, forecasts suggest continued pressure on the cedi. Ongoing tensions in West Asia present both risks and opportunities, potentially boosting export earnings from oil and gold, while also increasing demand for safe haven currencies and raising concerns about energy security. Despite some support from export inflows, persistent demand pressures and cautious central bank interventions are expected to weigh on the local currency in the near term. The cedi opened this week to around 11.70 cedis to the US dollar at forex bureaus, with a year-to-date appreciation of 4.51%.
And moving on, markets research firm IC Research is projecting a modest rise in inflation in April 2026. This, it says, is driven largely by rising fuel prices linked to global energy market shocks, although overall price stability remains firmly intact.
IC Research says domestic petrol prices have risen by 10.9%, while diesel has surged by over 32% since the start of the year. This has been attributed mainly to higher global energy prices, triggered by ongoing geopolitical tensions, as well as a nearly 5% depreciation of the cedi. Despite these pressures, IC Research maintains that inflation remains well anchored. It is forecasting an annual inflation rate of 3.4% for April, with month-on-month inflation expected to rise to 1%. The firm notes that Ghana's current inflation rate of 3.2% is significantly below the Bank of Ghana's target range, providing a strong buffer against external shocks. It adds that although escalating energy prices could pose upside risks, the overall inflation outlook is expected to remain in single digits throughout 2026, supported by stable policy measures and the continued impact of lower VAT rates.
And the Ghana Revenue Authority has expressed strong satisfaction with the rollout of the modified taxation scheme, describing the initiative's progress as very positive for the country's informal economy. Speaking on the scheme's impact, technical advisor to the Commissioner General of GRA, Elsie Apelklu, revealed that the system is successfully meeting its core objective.
Under the leadership of our able Commissioner General, Anthony Kwesi Sapon, we have rolled out schemes to implement, to see how to make doing business and paying tax very efficient, very simple, and very promising for our SMEs. And so far, it is going very well. Just by dialing star 880 hash, you'll be able to register and then also pay your taxes. It is the little contributions that we make as individuals, residents, and businesses that helps our country to grow. We have simplified the system from your bedroom by dialing star 880 hash. You can pay your taxes. You can download this app on your Play Store, your Apple Store, on your mobile phones, on your computer, and pay. If you don't have an Android or an iPhone, you can also use the USSD code to do this. All of this is to ensure that everyone is given an opportunity to participate in the development of our nation.
That was Elsie Apelklu. She is technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. And that will be all by way of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. My name is Grace Hamuajiman. Thank you for joining us. Black Rasta is still standing by.